chaos. That is what this book felt like when I first started reading it. It seemed untethered and unconnected and strange. So today we're going to talk about Cormac McCarthy's The Passenger. And this is a 2-part book, and I read the first one, and the next part is called Stella Maris. It's out now, and I put a hold on it at the library, so I will be reading the second part of that soon, hopefully. Reading this book was like being in a haze, where everything's blurry, and then it slowly comes into focus. I had never read anything by Cormac McCarthy before, so I wasn't familiar with the writing styles. It was just weird because he doesn't use punctuation, and when there's conversations between characters, it never ends with like, Jerry said, or Renee replied while scratching her nose. There's none of that. It's just a conversation and it just goes. And at first that was a bit maybe frustrating to read, but eventually like you settle into it, and then it becomes comfortable. And then at some point it doesn't really matter who's saying what, because you're just following the conversation. So at first in the beginning, the back and forth between the chapters, it didn't seem to have any like cohesion or coherence. And I was like, I feel like I'm inside the brain of a schizophrenic because it's bouncing around and like these weird people and characters. But I felt like as I delved deeper in and got more into the book, the way it's written is quite beautiful and sad. It starts out, the beginning is like this hunter finding this body of this girl that is frozen, and that's just like a page, and it kind of just describes it, what she's wearing. And then it comes into this character that is talking to this boy who has like these flipper hands. He calls her like 10 different names, and the conversation is like all over the place and doesn't quite make sense, and there's other people there but they're not there, and it's very strange. And then you come into the story of what maybe you read on the cover of The Passenger about this guy, and his name's Bobby Western. Him and his buddy are divers, and they do salvage dives and help pull up stuff that's sunk. So they're out on this dive where this plane had crashed. When they go down there, all the people are just kind of like buckled into their seats. They're all dead. And there's things missing from the plane. Some of the instrumentation in the cabin of where the pilots were missing. And also the pilot's bag was missing. So that was really strange. The plane, there was no like gas slick, which is a normal thing when a plane crashes. And it just seems like the plane was just set down there. And there's a lot of weird, mysterious circumstances surrounding that. And his buddy's like, maybe there's aliens. That's not really along where his line of thinking goes, but it's very strange. They're pretty sure someone was down there before them. And then it comes to find out that one of the passengers is missing as the story goes on. And the story is in all these crazy layers. It focuses on Western and then his sister who had passed away. The conversations and thoughts of the characters that are in this story, they're heartfelt, they're thought-provoking, they're all over the place, from philosophy to physics to the JFK assassination. It's sad and it's strange, but it's also kind of weird and wondrous. Although there is the weirdness of the theme in this that is the incestual love, which is a little awkward, but I guess these things happen and it can be part of a story, and it wasn't the main focus of the story, so it was never like really gross. Like the way it's portrayed is not disgusting, I guess. It ain't right. Anyway, moving on. Overall, the way the story ebbs and flows, and the strange things that happen, and the conversations that are had, and the beauty of the words, and discovering that I don't need to always know who's talking in these conversations that I'm following in the words that I'm reading, because what was more important was the conversation being had. And I thought this was a really fantastic book. There's some loose ends that need to be tied together, so I'm really looking forward to Stella Maris. As I said, in the beginning it was a little clunky reading because just the way it's written is not something I'm used to. And as I've said, I haven't read anything by Cormac McCarthy before. Once I got into it, it flowed pretty well. But for someone who hasn't read them either, you might find it awkward and weird in the beginning. It's interesting. The writing does kind of hook you to be like, what the heck is happening? What is going on? I need to know. So it kind of just gets its tenterhooks in you and pulls you in. The characters, they have like a sad eloquence to them. And the way that the ending of it was interesting too. And I'll be curious to see where it picks back up in the next book. If you're looking for a book that has a sad and heartfelt story and strangeness interwoven in, and trying to decipher what the story is about, being like bounced around trying to figure out like how to put everything together, The Passenger by Cormac McCarthy might just be for you. And if you like strange and weird books, the next video coming up will be about another strange and weird book, so stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.